What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen, and this is Sales Funnel Radio. Today I'm going to talk to you about why I chose the info business over the others.
I've spent the last 4 years learning from the most brilliant marketers today. And now I've left my 9-to-5 to take the plunge and build my $1 million business. The real question is, how will I do it without VC funding or debt, completely from scratch? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my online business using only today's best internet sales funnels. My name is Steve Larsen, and welcome to Sales Funnel Radio.
What's up, guys? Hey, first off, please know that I know there are far more types of business than just the ones I have on the board right here. And but generically, I find that a lot of them fit kind of in this category as far as the way that we market them. We might market services kind of the same way as agency. We might market e-com similar to how someone might actually do a little bit of retail, actually, right? Anyway, so I went through and I started looking through different ways. I did this a while ago, and I was very methodical about the way that I entered the business space and which market I actually went into, which business model I kind of went into, okay? And I'm not saying one is better than the other, and I'm not saying that these are all of them, and please know that I also am going to talk in massive stereotypes, okay? There are lots and lots and lots of different businesses that are out there, lots of great business models, right? And typically for the kinds of people that are solopreneurs, I typically see them going into kind of one of these categories, okay? And the solopreneur category. And until they get to a certain level, then they'll kind of scale it and blow it up and get to other places as well, okay? But meaning supplements, I might put supplements under e-com. Very similar. The funnels they're different, but there's some similar aspects to them, right? Services and agency, kind of the same here. Affiliate / salesman, right? / MLMers, info product, right? Anyway, so what I want to do is I just want to show you guys real quick why I chose what I do. And first of all, I want you to know that I sell info products now, right? I did not start that way at all, though, right? Info products is kind of interesting the way that it plays out, because to sell info products, it helps to have a little bit of authority in the space that you're selling into. Obviously, it helps. It's true for anything, but especially with info. So I didn't start with info. And again, if you want to, you can tackle it right away. Awesome, go for it. I actually was just trying to prove that this whole internet game worked. I remember the first time I was sitting in college and in a class, and for this particular class, it was quantitative marketing research. That was the name of the course, and we went through. And we had a live client, and it was actually Paul Mitchell. Okay, there was a Paul Mitchell school that was nearby, and what they were having us do was we would go collect a whole bunch of survey data, and we were going to try and consult Paul Mitchell on what they should do with this actual real-life scenario in business. And it was really, really interesting. Well, the assignment was for us to go talk to 10 people each as a class, and that way we collectively, we have a whole bunch of, we have a lot of data to work from. Well, I was sitting there with one of my buddies, and we were like, I do not want to go ask people, even 10. I don't want to ask 10 people how to do this survey. And so what we did is we're like, what if we go and let's just actually put this survey on a Google form, and we will drive ads to it. And something very simple, but we did Facebook ads and we drove to it. And what was interesting is we actually went and we collected more surveys than the rest of the class combined. And it went really, really well. Well, that's how I started working for Paul Mitchell, because Paul Mitchell came back to hey, we don't have to do any of this internet stuff. Professors, right, college teachers, do you guys know how to do this stuff? And they were like, no, but these two psychos over here seem to do something crazy. Talk to them. And we got a handoff from the professors, and we started building funnels. We didn't know they were funnels. We were building sites and in WordPress. We were driving traffic, and it was really, really interesting how that happened. Well, right before all of that happened, I was like, does this internet game even work? Is it all a scam? And so what I did was I started studying a lot of, if you guys know High Traffic Academy from Vic Strahaus. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering your name, man. Anyway, I started studying that, and I started learning, what if I was to just put a squeeze page in front of a ClickBank product and drive traffic to it? Oh my gosh, let's try that. It seems so simple. I looked at my internet marketing teacher and I said, I don't want to come back. It was the first or second day of that class. And I said, I don't want to come back. And I drew a funnel. I didn't know that's what I was drawing, but I drew a funnel. I drew a funnel and I drew an email follow-up sequence and I drew all, and I said, I want to go build this. And shockingly, he looked at me and goes, okay. And he left, or he said, you don't need to come back the rest of the semester. But just give me some kind of cool deliverable at the end of the semester. So I was like, cool. So me and this other guy, we went and we started trying to make, literally we held class every day just trying to make as much money online as possible. That's what our task was. Today, let's make as much money as we physically can on the internet. And so one of the very first products we did was what I was just saying. We went and we grabbed a squeeze page. It was a template software. We didn't know what we were doing. And we grabbed the template and we just changed the headlines. We grabbed a video from YouTube of someone else talking about that product, and then we put our affiliate link at the bottom. When they clicked submit, the page collected their email and it redirected over to the ClickBank page. And I remember that night we put, it was a ton of money to us at the time, but I put $50 in ads, and we woke up the next morning and I was anxious. This was like the 100th business I'd tried. You know what I mean? I opened up my computer and I was like, crap, there's cash in here. What? And I called my buddy real fast and we put $50 in, we got $50 back out, and we got 17 people on our list. And one person was the buyer and bought the upsell, and we liquidated. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. That sucks. We only made $50. And at the time I didn't understand how cool of a deal that was. That's the very, very first real funnel that I ever built. And we liquidated. We got 17 people on the list, and I thought it was a failure because we didn't make any money. And like, how stupid is that? I should have kept it going. Would have got a massive list quickly with that. But anyway, lessons learned, right? And we kept doing stuff like that. I started in the affiliate area. As far as the internet business goes, I started here. Okay, this is actually where I started, and then, like, I'm not joking, a few weeks later, that's when we start doing these cool things and we start getting involved with Paul Mitchell. And I start building these, we start building these things, and at that time, my buddy graduated, and I was like, there's something to, what's this funnel thing? There's something about this funnel game. What's with this funnel game thing? And I went and I decided that I would start studying the funnel game more. And I was like, who's this Russell Brunson guy? Well, he looks like he's 13. Like, all right, what? And I was like, who is this guy? And I start deep diving, guys. I obsessed, I still do, right? Hardcore on what he was teaching. I was like, yeah, that's totally how that works. No, yeah, he's right. It doesn't work that way. Whoa, look at that, right? And I started learning all these lessons, and I ended up I took .com Secrets X, and I filled an entire notebook, page by page. You know those steno notebooks with the lines, the graph notebooks? I filled it from front to back, from notes just from that one course. it took me 3 months to go through that one course because I played it for like 15 seconds, and then I stopped and I thought about it, and I wrote down what I had just learned, and then I would press play. And I did that for like a year. And when I say I hid in the box office seats on campus, I did. And that's what I was doing for a year and a half, was studying and learning, and then I started applying and doing all these little things. And I got to a place here where I was like, I'm gonna start proving that I know this stuff. And I started going out and I wrote down, I started building all these funnels, and I did it with a lot of startup companies for a while. And the problem with startups was their business wasn't proven out, and if the funnel didn't work, they thought it was my fault. And I was like, no, you don't have a product yet. You don't have a business. I have to train you on all this stuff before you even accept me. Anyway, startups were really, really rough to work with because for a lot of reasons. Then I was like, oh man, I should change who I'm actually pitching. I was like, oh sweet, you know what? I'm going to go for successful people who already have a list, who already have a successful product, who have testimonials with like a mid-range product. And I shotgun blasted out this invite to tons of people, and I said, hey, I know you don't know what a funnel is. I will build one for free just to show you that it works. If it works, let's talk about me getting paid. If it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. I'll walk. And had several people bite. And they're like, all right, bring it on. And I went and I started building funnels for several different people, and I kind of went agency. It was service style. Okay? And this is really where I started making actual real money on my own in college ever. As I was building, right, this is number 2. First was I started doing a whole bunch of affiliate stuff. But number 2, though, I went over and I actually, oh, you can barely see that. Okay, cool. Anyway, right, number 2, though, I started doing a whole bunch of service stuff and just putting my name out there, being like, look, I understand how this works now. Am I perfect? No, right? I'm not. But let me just learn under your business wing, right? And let me go build this funnel. I'll keep getting better. And if it's working, then let's talk about me getting paid. Don't pay me beforehand though. And that's what I did. And started getting these huge success stories. Well, around that time is when Funnel Hacking Live was coming up. I was like, I want to go. I'm getting successes for a lot of these guys yet, but still didn't feel like enough cash for me to spend money on a Funnel Hacking Live ticket. And I started building even more funnels for plane tickets and hotel nights and things like that. And I was like, oh, what's up, Russell? Then I got hired by Russell, right? And then that's really where I started building a lot of e-com funnels, right? Some of the biggest projects we were doing together was like Fiber Fix, and a lot of projects for Marcus Lemonis for that TV show, The Prophet on CNBC. It was a lot of e-com style funnels that was going on there. And it went really, really well. It was awesome. I mean, we were blowing these guys up, sometimes too fast, and they'd be like, turn it off, you're gonna bankrupt us, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that's the model for e-com, does really, really well. And then in the future, whenever Russell was like, dude, we need an e-com funnel, kind of like this funnel, but like with this back end versus that back end, I was like, sweet, I got it, and I go build it real fast, right? So I got real good at that model, right? However, I've always known that this is kind of one of the holy grails, okay? Info products are... I want to go through this real fast, and then I want to show you something. And this is the other reason why. But info products, it's one of the harder categories to get into, but it's also one of the holy grails. If you look at like what Dan Henry did, well, right? It's one of the earlier episodes of Sales Funnel Radio. But I interviewed him when he had only made $200,000 with his current offer that he blew up with. Right, his Facebook ads for entrepreneurs. He had only done like barely just $200,000 at that time. And he was talking about it. And if you have listened to that episode, what he was saying was that for his info product, he spent a solid like 5-6 months taking a beta group through, right, and seeing what they were doing and how they were reacting to what he was teaching. Okay, I thought I told you to build the Facebook ad this way, but it turns out you all thought I meant this. Okay, let's clarify, right? Then, okay, now do this step. Oh man, you're all screwing it up here. Let's do it, right? And he was spot checking and making his system. And he spent a lot of time, right, proving out his info product before he ever sold it, right? I've done the exact same thing with mine. Right, Alex and Layla Harmozy, right, at Funnel Hacking Live, this last one, they're talking about how for a full year before they just made $10 million since last April, right? But they didn't just start doing that for a full year before they ever started really scaling and selling hard. For a full year, they were living in crazy areas, doing crazy things, just so they could prove the process that they were going to bring people through, right? That is really one of the gateways. It's one of the key gates of getting really good and awesome at info. Your crap's got to be amazing. It's got to get results for people. And the best way to do it is to just spend a lot of time with your prospective customers, with people who represent your prospective customers, right? And make them successful, right? And when you do, it's, in my mind, it's one of the holy grails. I love selling info products, okay? I love it, okay? And here's why. Let's walk through this now real quick, okay? Here's the other reason why. So just so you know, like that's been kind of my journey as I've gone through it, right? I kind of did a little more e-com stuff, and then I jumped over here to the info side where I will reside as long as I can, okay? I absolutely love it, and it's super cool. It takes a little finesse to get into a lot of times. I'm not saying that you can't go interview a bunch of people and just toss out that interview series as an info product. You could totally do that, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't, like, there's a lot of ways to go create an info product really quickly. But I'm saying, like, you as a brand, okay, you as an educator, you as, like, this, as an idea and a vehicle that has potential for 2 commas, like, info-wise, like, it's got to be really good, right? It's got to be really good, okay? So, let's walk through this real quick here, okay? With e-com, okay, let's say over here on this side, okay, we're going to go through e-com. And on each one of these, we're going to look at the profit margin potential. Again, massive stereotypes. I understand that there are people out there who have figured out how to game the system. There are people out there who have figured out where they are not atypical. I'm talking atypical, stereotypical kind of results in each one of these categories, okay? How much profit, how much margin potential is there? How much money for you after all the expenses are done, okay? How much earning potential is there for you typically in that category, and how much time does it take to actually do the business, right? Actually fulfill on the thing that you're selling. Okay, I want to walk through real fast. This is why I've chosen what I have, and I've been methodical about it. Okay, I'm going to say that number 1 equals a little. Okay, number 2 equals kind of medium, and then 3 equals a lot. Okay, Let's go with ecom. And I know that some of you guys might reach out to me and kind of fight me on these things. I understand, right? I'm talking just like straight atypical general person that goes through this thing, okay? What is the earning, like at the very end of the day, the profit potential of the ecom category? What is it? It's not actually that high, right? A lot of people get hit 2 comma clubs in ecom, but they don't actually keep that much money. Like they actually don't have that much cash to their name themselves. I understand the coolness of getting the award, and you certainly can scream to it real fast by doing something like ecom really quickly, but there's not typically that much profit margin inside of ecom, especially when people don't do my freaking offer creation strategy in this. If they do, they can make a lot of cash. It's like, I don't know why a lot of ecom people don't believe me, even though that's what we do, and it works. Anyway, okay, but the actual earning potential, the actual profit margin on the actual business itself, is a little bit tiny. I'm gonna say we'll say a 2 here, okay? A 1 to a 2, okay? It's kind of a little, especially if you're doing something like drop shipping. That's obviously a 1. If you own the product, you're gonna get more of a 2. But let's talk about time to fulfill. Okay, even if you've got a shipping fulfillment house doing your work for you, or if it's in-house, okay, you are typically sourcing products like crazy. You're spending a lot of time finding the next product, testing the next thing. And especially, I'm not saying you gotta sell ecom products for like, a couple bucks, like a lot of ecom people do. You can sell for really, really expensive, but you're usually in a game of trying to figure out the next thing to go sell really, really quickly. Info, the way I write info is a little bit different, okay? So I'm gonna say 2, because you can actually spend a buttload of time actually on the phone, right? That's one of the things that Trey Llewellyn was having a hard time with his, which you can't blame him, right? With his the credit card knife, right? The dude's the man, absolutely amazing. Spent a lot of time though fulfilling, and it's easy to run into troubles that way. So ecom, I was like, ecom's cool, but like, oh man, I'm about that ROI. Like, how can I get the highest leverage? Okay, which ecom comes in later. Remember this, okay? I'm gonna come back to this and show you how I use it now. But you sell info. Wait, do I? Wait, just watch this, okay? Okay, agency. Agency is freaking awesome too. There's a lot of cash that usually comes in the business. The thing that I don't like about agency is that when you get paid, that's when the work starts, right? I don't like that. It's where I proved that I knew what I was doing. It's services/agency here, right? It's where it's a really fast way as well. Like I love the path that I personally took. I learned how to sell other people's products, which is awesome. We'll get there in a second. But then I went over to the service and agency side, and it was really cool because you get paid a lot of cash, but you're also, even if you have an amazing team agency-wise, you're still managing the team. You're still closing deals typically. I'm not saying you, anyway, there are exceptions to the rule, but usually there's a lot of time to fulfill on agency model, okay? After the sale is made, there's usually, right, that's when it starts. I'm gonna say 3 and another 2 here, okay? Okay, let's talk here about affiliate. Now, typically with affiliates, the profit margin, usually small, right? You got the crazies out there like Russell Brunson giving 40% every single month of his check to you for getting the affiliate person in. I mean, that's amazing. That's incredible. Usually not the case though, right? And so I'm going to say a 1. But what's interesting, and it can be, it says, okay, 1.5. Okay, I'll say 1.5. Depending on the product, depending on the affiliate, there's a lot of variables with every one of these categories, and I totally get that, right? But just generally, right? Usually 1.5. How much time does it take for you to fulfill after the sale's made? No time, right? No time at all. Oh my gosh, great place to go. And this is actually how I built my entire company and business without ever spending $1 of my own. I've never spent $1 of my own. I don't think so. In my own business. And it's because I started with affiliates, right? That generated cash so that I could do cool things like hire VAs in service/agency. And that brought in even more cash. And I was like, well, this is awesome, but I want to free up my time a little bit. Let's jump over to info, right? And that's what I went into next. Let's talk about info. What's the earning profit margin potential on an info product? Guys, my margins right now on my main product is like 94%. Obviously, there's a business margin, but I'm saying the actual product margin is like 94%. It's ridiculous, okay? It's like no cost to fulfill on it at all. I think it's actually like 98, okay? Okay, I mean, it's really, it's ridiculous, okay? 3, definitely a 3. Time to fulfill, like virtually nothing, right? The cost of an email with access to a members area or something like that. Now, there's a caveat to this. If I go through and I have an info product, people know, right? There's this inherent understanding that the info product is already made. It's like this subconscious know, a little thing that they know that it's not going to take you anything to fulfill on it. because of that, the perceived value, so it's a lot of value to me, but the perceived value of info is usually kind of low. It is, right? Let's take ecom, for example, though. Ecom, something physical, something I'm going to get in the mail, right? I got these stupid crows that are flying around over the place around the office, and they're messing with me. They're like, so anyways, I got a BB gun coming. You can guess what's happening, right? But the perceived value, of an ecom product is really high, right? Perfect example, go think about Amazon. There's not sales copy on Amazon. What is there? There's like bullet point descriptions. This is what it is. Bam, here's the button, put it in your order and just go get it. The perceived value of ecom is high, but the cost, the value to the entrepreneur is typically a little lower. So what I do is I combine them, okay? And in my offers with info, the reason why info does so well for me now is, yes, you get the info thing, but I also ship a lot of amazing, incredible things to the person when they purchase, right? And I combine info with ecom, and it's one of the reasons why my stuff does so well, and one of the reasons why the perceived value of my offers is so high, because the value is high, okay? They're getting something in the mail. It's not just like something. They're crazy cool things, okay? They're getting those, and they're getting access to all this crazy stuff, funnel builds, and this, incredible things, okay? Things that people pay a lot of money for me to go do normally, right? They're getting those things in there, and that's the reason why I chose and I've landed on info, and I will stay there. The category I want to move into eventually, though, is software. I think I already know what it's going to be, but it's because it's almost like the benefits of ecom, high perceived value, software, right? Software is high perceived value with really high margins on the product itself. The business margin on software is a little bit hard because you have a lot of support you usually have to hire, right? But the time to fulfill is like virtually nothing, which means the entrepreneur can spend, as long as they get great support, usually in software, the entrepreneur can spend little time doing any kind of fulfillment. Instead, they do a lot of time selling. Right? Russell stays in the act of selling like 24/7. He can do that because of the software game, because he's in the info game, and he combines a lot of ecom inside of it. Does that make sense? So he tosses off a lot of the benefits to his affiliates by giving them the ability to, hey, look, you don't have to fulfill anything, I'm going to pay you for it. Sweet! Right? And he teaches a lot of people, like, look, if you need cash on a lot of it pretty quick, man, go service agency style, right? You'll get a lot of cash quickly, but eventually, that's why I landed in what I do, and that's why I stay in info, and I will always stay info. I love it. The time to fulfill is tiny, which lets me stay in a zone where I get to create more things for the same product, toss in more cool things, make the value of the offer even bigger, right? Create amazing things for people, and the profit margins are big enough that it allows me to do that, right? I'm not having to sell thousands of little knickknacks and take away like $1,000 to go put that in something else from where the source of knickknacks. That's really, really rough in ecom. But $1,000 coming from, right, the source of info product, it's really, really easy. It's not that crazy hard at all. And so this is why I do what I do, and this is the reason that I've structured it the way I have. So I hope that helps. As you guys are thinking through like how to actually sell the stuff that you are and what you're trying to get into, right? I started as an affiliate, and it's a great way to go. And frankly, when I started Sales Funnel Radio, I kept this thing going by giving away share funnels, right? And now I've got a bunch of people who own ClickFunnels accounts, and they, at the beginning, when I was working at ClickFunnels, right, at a 9-to-5 job, I had this extra cash that was coming in. And because of that, while I was doing my 9-to-5, which was way more than that, right, but while I was working over there, during the same day, there would be VAs in different places that were getting projects and cool things done for me. Not from my own pocket, it's because I was doing affiliate stuff like crazy. Really easy to fulfill, got some cash from it. Wasn't tons, but, and it's still to this day though, I mean, it's significant. I think we're well past 30 grand in affiliate commissions in the last like year and a half. I mean, it's good. It's been the cash that I've needed to do all the stuff on the side and prep the groundwork so that I could launch into the info space. So anyways, I just hope that helps. It helps you guys work through and think through where you're heading. And if you're like, I'm trying to do info. Okay, does anyone know who you are? Have you proven out the process yet? You know, can you like, if someone actually follows the process, can you virtually guarantee they're gonna be successful with it? Like if you can't, it can be really hard to sell that at scale, right? If someone follows my process, they get results. I know they do. I have the best product in the category I'm selling in the entire market, and I know I do. And I'm fine with that, and I'm fine saying that because I know it's true. Because that's what happens when people do it, they get results. It's happening live right now, right? But it took me like 2 years, really, like honestly, to really get to a spot where my info product could do that for people, right? So if you're like, Like knowing that, I feel like, hey, I want to do info. Like awesome. I feel like, hey, I want to stick in e-com. That's great. That's great. And like figure out the little tricks to make the margins huge and make that 2 into a 3. Fantastic, right? That's awesome, right? That's super, super cool. Just be cognizant of what that industry is typically like and the costs associated with that, right? Like supplements, it takes a lot of cash typically to sell someone into supplements. Like continuity, things like software, it takes a lot of cash typically to sell somebody into things like continuity. A lot of cash. Continuity is expensive to sell, right? So don't sell continuity outright. Attach it to other things. Funnel hacks, right? Like Russell does. Funnel hacks. Isn't that amazing? When you do it that way, oh my gosh, it's so much easier, right? Same thing with supplements over here. Like supplements cost a lot of cash to drop in, but if you have an info product you're coupling it with, they buy the info product, that's what's self-liquidating your ad costs, and now you in the back end go toss them to your supplements. Awesome, right? Or your e-com or whatever. Does that make sense? This is one of the reasons why I've structured it the way I have. I've been very methodical about it, and it's turned out really, really well. So I hope that's helpful to you. If you're stuck or you feel like, oh gosh, I just don't know this is gonna work. I don't know if this is gonna be successful here or there. Like, man, just go figure out how you can get cash now, okay? And some of the easiest places to do it, affiliate, right? Probably next, probably the agency. I know a lot of e-com people probably fight me on that, and that's great. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. We all have our own opinions, and that's perfect. The model I'm following, and I just wanted to walk you guys through why I do what I do, and what my logic has been behind each one of them is profit margin potential out of the gate, not tricks, not little tips, not little things, right? Profit margin potential out of the gate. What is it, right? And I'll do the little tips and tricks and stuff like that, and I do, and it goes even higher, right? But I don't want to bank on those. That's why I didn't run into e-com. I almost ran into e-com. I just about did e-com. But that's the reason why I didn't right out the gate. Again, not telling you not to, but that's the reason I didn't. Time to fulfill, right? I was like, man, I just want to do revenue generating activities. If I'm constantly doing or managing a product for someone else, and I collected the cash already, but I can't actually do anything with it because my hands are tied, my time is tied because I can't actually go do it. If I have to fulfill, like, I don't know if I wanted to marry the agency service model, right? It was a great place for me to go for quite a while, honestly, and vet out and prove who I was and what I was doing and that I could do it, right? Which the market obviously needed to see. Why would they not? Right? I got my testimonials from there. Right? That's what launched me into being able to work next to Russell. Right? That was not the first time I was building funnels. I was building like crazy beforehand, right? In fact, that was one of the first things he asked when I sat down face to face with him. He's like, actually before I even got there, he's like, have you been building funnels? I said, yeah. He's like, what are the URLs? Boom, blasted over like 20 URLs over to him. Look at all these funnels I've done. Look at the stats. Here we go. Boom. And then when I sat down, he's like, oh, sick. Okay, cool. This is, he didn't say sick, but he's like, oh, cool. All right, this is awesome. Like you've actually done this, you know, like I didn't start from ground zero, right? But it's because I actively was trying to prove that I could do it. So anyway, that's the path I took. Hopefully it helps. Sit back, figure out where you're trying to go. And those are some of the, when you're just talking about generating cash flow, I'm not talking about change the world projects. I'm talking about you making money, right? For you. Change your own life before you go try and change the world's lives, right? Right? Way easier. Do it that way. I want to change the world, and I plan to. I don't know how yet. But first, I'm changing my world, okay? And so that I have the ability and power to change the world afterwards. So this is the path I took with that intent in mind, and it's been working really well. And we haven't had a negative month yet, and I don't think we will. And anyway, things have been going great. I really appreciate everything's been going on. Thanks for listening. Please rate and review the podcast. Please share it. We'd love to have more people on. For those of you guys who are on iTunes, I do film these now. If you want to see the graph I just drew, go to my YouTube channel. If you want to, just Steven Larsen, that's the name of the YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube and you're like, hey, I would rather just listen to these, go to iTunes, right? A lot of you guys on Instagram, I know these get pushed out to you as well. Bloggers, what's up? You guys can come on any of these platforms as well. We push out now to like, it's probably like 25 different platforms. So just know that the others exist, and excited to have you guys. Thanks so much. Talk to you later. Bye.
Boom. Thanks for listening. Hey, please remember to rate and subscribe. Hey, you want me to speak at your next event or mastermind? Let me know what I can share that would be most valuable by going to stevejlarsen.com and book my time now.